Hello, welcome. Today let's move through a few restorative yoga postures. So I'm going to begin with a bolster and a blanket. Take a moment to pause and go find either a couple of pillows or a body pillow, bolster if you've got one, and then something like a small blanket, throw, or beach towel. And today, as I move into these, I'm going to come to a place of settling in and feeling the shape, and then I'm going to move to the next posture. I would invite you to continue to pause the video as we move through. And the idea of restorative yoga is that we really allow our surface and allow our props to fully hold and support us. So you can enjoy a posture for 3 or 5 or 10 minutes, or as long as feels right for your tissues and your nervous system in the moment. So we're going to get started lying on our backs, and we're going to use our props and pillows to support us in a few ways. I'm going to take, again, body pillow, bolster, rolled up blanket, whatever I've got, and I'm going to stack it long ways across the bottom edge of my mat. And then I'm going to take my towel or blanket or whatever I have, and I'm going to make a long, thin shape that's about the same length as from the crown of my head to my tailbone. So I've got a roll here, and as you will notice, it's really not very large, and it's a soft surface because we're looking for more of a restful posture here than a deep stretch. I'm going to bring this parallel to the length of my mat right in the center, and I'm going to start seated between these two props. The idea is that I'm going to bring my spine and head down onto my rolled up towel or blanket and my knees onto my bolster. So my tailbone is going to touch down right at the end of my little roll here, and I'm going to support myself with my hands as I come back, making sure I've made my roll long enough that my head is supported, and then I'm just going to kind of check in with where my bolster landed and make little adjustments. So we're going for a supported half Shavasana or a supported half corpse here with just a little bit of a stretch for the fronts of the shoulders. So as you lie back and start to feel in with where your props landed, first just notice if there are areas of ease and if there are areas of tension. And if there are any areas of tension, where are those? And how could you either change up your position or change up your props to support you? So if you're having a little bit of tension or discomfort in the shoulders, maybe it would be best to remove the rolled up towel or blanket and just allow your spine and shoulders and head to rest on the earth. If you're having a little bit of tension in the lower body, you could play with maybe bringing your bolster or pillows in a little closer, scooting them a little further away, or decreasing the height, having your knees come a little higher or knees come a little lower. So I want to increase my stretch just a little bit in the fronts of the shoulders. So I'm going to bring my hands out a little bit wide and turn my hands palm face up. I'm very attuned to any sensation that may be happening from the lateral part of the chest coming out into the arm, and if it feels really grippy, I'm going to bring those arms back in. Or if I want a more restorative version of this, I may actually bring my hands palm face down onto my belly and let the arms rest there. I'm going to take a moment here again with these adjustments that I made, checking in areas of tension, areas of ease. What other little micro adjustments can I make so that I can fully soften and release into this shape, allowing my surface, allowing my props to fully hold me? And just finding a few easy inhales, full exhales, maybe softening gaze or closing eyes. And as you decide how long you might like to stay here, invitation to continue to make those little micro adjustments as sensations in the tissues change and the nervous system changes and the breath. Pause, stay here as long as you would like. And And getting ready to come out, I'm gonna roll myself over to the fetal position to support bringing myself out of this shape. So I'm gonna start to lift my legs in toward the inner edge of that pillow or bolster. I'm gonna scoot it out of the way just a little bit, and I'm gonna allow my feet to come down onto the mat. And from here, I can either support myself with my arms, roll myself right over onto one side, or if it feels better, or if it's in your practice, and it feels safe to balance on your rolled up towel or blanket, you could bring your knees in, then roll yourself over onto your side. So either way, finding yourself over to that fetal position, allowing that prop that's behind you to slide back, and then using the support of your upper arms, slow press yourself up to a seat. Now I will move into a spinal twist. So I'm going to bring my bolster or my pillows or body pillows over to the left side of my mat, lower half. I'm going to change up my blanket. So I've got a slightly taller, small rectangle. Depending on what's happening with your body, you may or may not need or want this blanket, but in case I decide that I want it, it's gonna go on the right side of my mat toward the top. And I'm gonna start back in a half corpse pose, but this time unsupported. So I'm lying on my back, my knees are bent, pointing up toward the sky, and my hips are right around the level of my bolster. So I'm actually gonna bring my bolster up just a little bit. And I'm gonna press into my feet, I'm gonna lift my hips ever so slightly, and I'm gonna rock my hips just an inch or two over to my right side. I'm gonna send my left leg long, and I'm gonna bring my bent right knee in toward my belly. I'm gonna use the support of my arms to bring this leg all the way over, looking for my lower leg to land on my pillows or other props. As I do that, my right hip and glute are gonna lift up off of my mat. And as I come over, again, you may have to adjust where your bolster landed. I'm gonna let that knee find a comfortable spot. And then I'm gonna notice if maybe there's an urge to bring my knee a little higher, grab some more pillows or fold your pillows in half, or decrease that height, let your knee come a little lower, but definitely looking for supported rather than deep stretch. And then I'm gonna try to let this right shoulder roll back open and connect to my mat. And I notice there's a little bit of space and a little bit of tension. So I'm gonna take this rectangle and I'm gonna bring it right under my shoulder blade. So it's not under the spine, but sort of nestled just between that space between spine and shoulder blade, so that when I bring that arm back, I don't have that sense of hanging or pulling. So again, just sort of checking in and noticing here, playing with a few different shapes for the arm, a little more intensity, leaving it out open to the side, a little less intensity, elbow bends, hand rests at the waist. Same thing with the left arm. The left arm could really be doing anything that feels comfortable or feels inviting here. I could choose to leave my gaze up toward the ceiling. I could choose to bring my gaze over to my left side, or to change intensity and bring a little more twist into the cervical spine. I could actually bring my gaze just a little bit past my right shoulder, again, looking for restful, restorative, and supportive. Taking that moment to come inward, notice your areas of tension. Notice your areas of ease. How can you adjust your props? Make them taller, make them smaller, to support this sense of a resting down toward the earth, fully softening into the support of your props. Invitation to pause the video, stay here as long as it feels supportive, juicy, wonderful, lovely in this moment. And starting to make your way back up. We're going to start to bring this right knee in ever so gently toward the belly. Start to lift that leg back up over the hip. I'm going to notice a little bit of pressure in this shoulder to my props. I'm going to take that hand and just pull that prop out of the way, roll all the way over onto both shoulder blades. Lift the left leg, bring it in, give the knees a little squeeze. Bring both feet back down to the mat, knees bent, pointed up toward the ceiling. Hands resting wherever is comfortable. Press into the feet to float the hips. Recenter your hips and spine. Bring the spine back down onto the mat. Send both legs long on your mat. Reach your hands overhead and imagine a full body stretch, toe to tip length. Sliding those heels back in, rolling over to the fetal position from here, or bringing legs into the belly, rolling over to the fetal position. Slow press your way up to a seat. Okay, I'm going to bring my bolster over to the right side of my mat. Take my folded up blanket or other prop over to the opposite side, supporting myself as I come down. Making my bolster come up just a little bit. So again, it's about aligned with my hips. I'm going to squeeze my left knee into my belly. Send my right leg long. Using the support of the hands, bring this knee over to a spinal twist, letting that left hip lift, finding that support for the whole lower left leg. As that leg comes down, do I need to have more height, more pillows? Fold my pillows, take some extra blankets, tuck them between pillows and knee so that that leg feels fully supported. I have some sensation in my hip spine, but not to the point of real intensity. Trying to let this shoulder relax back down onto the earth, noticing if it can get there and I feel relaxed, maybe it stays, or I'm gonna bring my blanket in, support the shoulder blade. That shoulder come back, check in, do I need more height, less height? Do I wanna increase that intensity a little bit, letting the arm open out wide? Do I want to keep that arm nice and tucked in, hand gently resting at the waist, deciding where I'd like to rest right hand. And as you soften into this shape, coming inward, noticing areas of ease, areas of tension. Make adjustments. Continuing to make micro adjustments as you soften and relax into this shape for as long as you'd like. Beginning to bring yourself out of the shape. Again, bringing that left knee in a little, starting to roll out so you can find the space to grab shoulder prop. If you've got one, slide it out of the way, letting both shoulders come fully onto the mat. Squeeze the left knee in. Right leg comes in to meet. Bring the feet down to the mat. Press into the feet to float the hips. Recenter. Bring in the pelvis back down. Slide the feet long. Slide the hands overhead. Full body stretch. And bringing yourself to knees to chest pose. Flowing through fetal position, press yourself up to a seat. Ending where we started, bringing this guy back across lower part of the mat. Roll up your blanket. I've heard some studios call this a noodle roll. Find your placement for your noodle roll. We're gonna, again, come back down into that same shape, making adjustments for your props as you find your position. Tailbone fully supported, head fully supported. But this time as you come down, in addition to just noticing your spaces of tension and your spaces of ease, noticing any differences from when we first got into this shape. I'm noticing I'm pickier now. But really, as I soften down and I find that, I'm just gonna check in, sensations in the lower body, what feels the same, what feels different, in the core, low back, mid back, shoulders, head, neck. Are my spaces of ease and spaces of tension the same? I'm noticing my arms want to come a little wider this time, whereas first they wanted to be in. Making adjustments, making micro adjustments. And invitation to pause. Spend as long as you'd like. And bringing ourselves out of this last shape toward coming flat on your back for a moment. So again, scooting your lower body props out of the way, starting to roll to the side so you can pull those upper body props out of the way, letting the whole spine, shoulders come down onto the mat, sending the legs a little wide as you bring them long, letting the arms come a little bit wide, and then for a moment, just feel the sense of your whole back body resting down toward the earth. Enjoy a few full breaths here. And from here, either flowing into the rest of your practice or into the rest of your day. Thank you.